spent all night recording at work, and now I'm actually determined to finish this. So, here we go. I first came across Linkin Park when I was about 13. What I've done, obviously, from the Transformers films. Um, that's the song that got me hooked. R.A.P. Chester, by the way. It was different from what I was used to listening to from what my mom played on the radio station, and also different from Kids Bop. Um, and that got me digging into music that was a little outside um, what I was normally used to at the time. Emotionally, this album's very teenagery, but not to offend the fans or the band, but it's just very. It feels like they're struggling for control when they don't have it, which is something I feel like teenagers can relate to, even though their teenagers are actually gaining more control. Um, they feel like they don't have any, because teenagers are in that place where they're gaining independence. If you look at the track list, you got songs about um, rebelling against authority, wanting to run away, um, pushing people away, being stuck in your head, and then, of course, trying so hard and getting so far, even though it doesn't even matter. Um, just stuff like that. It's very, very adolescent. Papercut is a very strong opener. The way it consistently builds upon itself. It starts off with a simple beat, and then it goes into the guitar, the bass, and etc., etc. By the end, it has Mike and Chester rapping and singing over each other. One Step Closer is another solid one. It has a very catchy riff, catchy chorus. Um, I remember back in the day, I could not tolerate screaming music, but I did just for that track. Um, and then it wound up being one of my favorites on the album. And then A Place in My Head is, I think, an underrated one. It has that sort of acoustic guitar sound that you can picture taking place in a subway tunnel. Um, and then it just builds upon itself with the drums and uh, uh, the worst tracks on this album, With You. It feels a little by the numbers. Um, doesn't really do anything um, outside the ordinary for the rest of the album. And honestly, Crawling, I know everyone really likes this track, but I never thought it was anything special. They do make it a little more minimalist by having it just being that watery sort of synth, but it never did anything for me back then, and it still doesn't really now. In terms of consistency, this album's pretty strong. Um, I do think it takes a dip a little bit towards the end. After A Place in My Head, um, the rest of the track is just kind of, meh. I never found anything after that to be worth listening to very much. Um, and considering there are 12 tracks on the album, that's kind of a problem in my opinion, but, is what it is. In terms of the album's goal, if it was for people who were feeling angsty, who were feeling isolated, who just felt like control was out of their hands, then yeah, I can see how that would feel relevant to those sorts of people. Um, and maybe that's why I haven't felt like it's relevant to me these past few years. In terms of what works, Mike and Chester obviously had a symbiotic relationship. That worked really well on this album. They could play off one another really well. In terms of what fails, though, I just feel like I've heard both better hip hop artists, better industrial artists, better hip hop industrial artists, and I feel like they could have done more in terms of experimenting. I also feel like it's I just can't relate to it enough. And due to the um, lyricism feeling so dated, I guess, it just doesn't hold up for me today, which is why I'm going to give it a C tier. If you like this review, I'm going to try and make this a regular thing. Kind of depends on my availability. Um, Up next will be 3 Days Grace's self titled album.